Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Omer. I head the business development and partnerships in Dpro. I joined the company in mid-2025 with a clear objective to significantly expand the global footprint of Dpro's innovative product and technology inside Zapp, which has been built and refined over the past 15 years. Our goal is to help organizations run SAP environments that are agile, operationally efficient, and genuinely easier and more enjoyable to work with. So thank you again for joining us. So what do we have today in the agenda? Before we begin our biannual webinar covering the new developments and capabilities delivered over the past 6 months, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Dror Todres, who joined us as a CEO early this month. Dror, please.
Thank you, Omer. Hi, everybody. Just wanted to briefly introduce myself. My name is Dror Todres, and in the past few years, I founded and managed a number of enterprise software companies. I'm grateful for the opportunity to join this great team here at Dpro and lead the company into its next phase of growth. I'm happy to see you all on this call, and I look forward to speaking to each of you in the next few weeks. And I'll make sure to reach out to you for that. In any case, I'm always available, so please feel free to contact me for anything. Enjoy the webinar. Back to you, Omer.
Thank you, Dror. I would also like to please to introduce the rest of our team, Mr. Avi Nishan, founder of the company and the guru I believe most of you already know, Mr. Shai Sinai, our Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Dan Shkrek, our CMO, and Ms. Noga Spatero, our CSM. So what have we been doing in the past year? So as you all know, the SAP world and SAP itself is undergoing significant changes with the rapid introduction of AI into more and more business processes. This transformation is accompanied by considerable concerns, risks, and implementation challenges. At Dpro, we listen carefully to the market, our customers, and invest heavily in meaningful technological developments that deliver real, measurable value across any SAP environment in which you operate, ECC or S4. In the new 6.1 version, you will see today we enable a simple one-click transition from SAP GUI to advanced SAPUI 5 with new features and embedded AI, game-changing AI capabilities that generate real value directly inside SAP, out of the box in any SAP environment, again, both ECC and S4. Actionable insight as it is real-time from reports and data across all SAP versions. All of this is achieved while fully adhering to the clean core principles and methodology, without custom development, without compromising system stability or security, and with very significant savings in both time and cost. Mishan will present key topics around SAPUI 5, including new features, as well as enhancements and new capabilities in Zappy and Zappy 360, our in-SAP AI solution, accompanied by live demonstrations to show how everything works in practice. Following that, we will have a short session with Mr. Elad Goldman, an SAP veteran and our partner, who specialize in managing and delivering complex SAP projects, including S4 migrations, through the implementation of clean core principles using Inside Zapp. We will then conclude with Ms. Ella Meiri, our guest speaker, a 20-year SAP consultant, who will briefly present her unique product built on Inside Zapp infrastructure, focusing on SAP user authorization management and control, again, within SAP, not external. Due to time constraints, some topics will be covered at a high level only. Those of you who wish to go deeper will be able to join dedicated upcoming webinars covering best practices in clean core implementation and why it is critical for S4, what is required to deploy and install Zappy AI within your specific organization, and implementing Ella's EAM, our SAP ERP Authorization Manager. Finally, if we'll have time, which I hope we do, we'll leave some time for questions. At the end of this webinar, you will shortly get a link to the presentation, including the recording of this session, and link to download 6.1 and with installation notes. Mishan, I hand it over to you.
Hi, everybody. In the last 2 years, everybody who goes around SAP hears only 3 things: UI, AI, clean core. UI, AI, Clean Core. In Tech at Orlando, SAP CEO and the CTO are talking in the major event about Clean Core. In Vegas Connect, the CTO is talking a whole hour about AI. And in the French user group, the USF, are having 20 calls about Fiori. As you probably remember, we in Dpro, we like to talk about 3.8.200. That is to say, in every version, we have three pillars, three major development. Thereafter, 8 important developments and tons of additions, modifications, and fixes. As I said, in the world of SAP, there's nothing these days but UI, AI, and Clean Core. And therefore, we have decided in this version to map the things, the important things we've done onto these three worlds of content in which SAP is concentrating, the UI, AI, and Clean Core. Correspondingly, in the first part, I will dedicate the things we did around the SAPUI5 worlds, and thereafter we will talk about the modifications Zappy AI got. Then we will take you into a journey with Zappy 360, another way to consume AI in SAP. The last part will be dedicated entirely to Clean Core, and now inside Zap is actually a fulfillment of the principles underneath the Clean Core. Actually, today, 15 years after we started developing Insight in Dpro, there's a point in which the great SAP is telling us, you were right. Let's start. Okay, a second before I'm diving into the SAP UI5 world in this version, I'd like to take advantage of this stage in order to explain the difference, the major difference between developing a Fiori application in the organization and displaying your insight as a Fiori application. So in order to make those differences shine, I will take a small challenge that many of you are confronting on daily basis when moving to S4, taking an old SAP GUI report and turning it into a Fiori application. So a few assumptions. Whenever somebody is converting an existing report into a Fiori application, we are talking about a whole new development process, okay? Dev, QA, production. It's a matter of a few weeks to a few months of implementer, developer, and a tester. The developer is writing the entire thing from scratch. The services to bring the data from the database are being coded again. The UI is being coded again, and the gateway, the one that moves the services between the others, is coded yet again. And therefore, the result is a whole new application, and there's nothing between the new application, the new Fiori application, and the old SAP GUI, and therefore everything should be tested, and you should expect all problems that you come across when you develop something new. Okay, let's say that everything went okay, and you have now a Fiori application that does exactly what the old report did. However, as soon as you'd like to add something, let's say a new column, let's say you'd like to color code red records that went off chart, back to the drawing board, dev, QA, production. Everything is great, and a year moved past. How the application you have developed will look like? Bad. Why? Because SAP keep releasing graphical objects, controls, okay, in the world of the Fiori. And if you are not running and adapting your applications to the new stuff SAP is publishing quickly enough, the application, the Fiori application you have developed will look ancient. So let me recap. You are writing everything from scratch. Every change forces you to go back to the drawing board, and quickly enough, everything would look ancient. In Insight, we have only one Fiori application we do not code anything, okay? We merely present the old report as a Fiori application. Every addition takes a minute, and you can do that directly on production system, if you will. Every year, we produce two versions in which we upgrade our Fiori application with all the newest controls as the SAP offers. So if we would like to recap the work with Insight, you merely present your old report as a Fiori application. Every addition takes a minute, and the result will look $1 million every single time. A second before we are diving into the demo, I'd like to give you some thing to think about, okay? What will happen as soon as SAP will introduce its new UI, let's say Biori? What would happen then? Are you going to code yourself again? So what have we done in SAP UI 5 worlds? Exactly as we said, okay? We noticed that the M table we used, the responsive one, was pretty comfortable, nice for mobile phones, but it was very bad on desktops. And therefore, in this version, we split the code and we're using two different controls for table. The table control for desktops, and all the rest are using the M table. Just think about it. What developer will spend so much work in order to make the desktop people happy and the mobile users happy as well? What else have we done? We deepened the installation, the application of the things. Let me show you some stuff. Okay, so this is how the dashboard looks like, and the table, as you can see, it's solid. It moves nicely. You can close everything, and it is great. Let's check things like fast input. I'm selecting a few records. Okay, and now I can press something like that. The fast input is opened. I can pick a date, and I can pick, let's say, a developer, and automatically the fast input ability is being displayed. Let me show you how the comments look like. My comment, I can press this one, send comment, and now the comment was added. I can add another comment, second, and now I will use this one, which says sends and close, and there you go. We have two comments. Everything looks nice. The important thing finally around Zappy, we enabled Zappy on this one, and now we can ask the system questions like how many POs are in the list. Okay. And as you can see the answer, there's explanation. I'm not going to go deep into this thing because I'm going to cover this part within the AI part. So above, moving not in such a sharp turn into the AI worlds in SAP, let me again use this stage to explain a few of the challenges we are facing in the world of SAP and the differences in the solutions we are giving for organizations running SAP. Let's split the solutions that are available today into two: those that were born and live within SAP, and those solutions that live outside the world of SAP. So let me quickly enough kill all those solutions that live outside SAP. Every time, whenever we're talking about solutions that live outside SAP, we will always tackle those three major challenges. The first one is real-time data. Whenever somebody is talking about near real time, you should know that this is a BS thing. And as soon as you go outside SAP, you are losing the real time um, ability. And then worse than that, as soon as you go outside SAP, you are losing the context. You are losing authorization. Namely, once you are out of the SAP context, when you took things outside SAP, you lost authorizations, and now people without sufficient authorization may see things they are not entitled to. Lastly, and worst, as soon as you start to share information with LLMs, with all those clouds, then you're jeopardizing the organizational data. Let's talk about solutions that live within SAP. So currently, the only solution is apart from inside Zap is Joule, SAP Joule. And Joule promises many things, but it always a very specific solution for a very specific use case. And as soon as you like to implement Joule for your own business process, you need to build it specifically for this process. Next, the process is going to be pretty much it's going to be expensive because SAP actually hides behind its back everything, the entire AI infrastructure, and therefore you need to pay for the entire thing as a service. And lastly, as soon as you'd like to change the Joule, okay, to adapt it to the new ever-changing environment, you need to go back to the drawing board, dev, QA, production. Okay. And again, I need to say something very important. When we do something within SAP, it means that it's supposed to be operational. Other than that, we can do it outside SAP around BI areas and stuff like that. And therefore, the ability to do something to be actionable within the system, this is imperative when we talk about AI within operational systems. So let's try and understand what Zappy is doing differently than the others. Again, we presented Zappy in the last version. It is very generic and it protects you and it knows how to help you today and in the future. Let's go back to the diseases, to the problems I identified earlier, and let us see how inside Zap, how Zappy actually tackle those challenges. So needless to say that everything we do is real time because we live within SAP. In Insight, whenever somebody can see something, it means that the data, all the authorizations are being checked, and therefore the user is entitled to see whatever he is looking at, she is looking at. I'd like to spend the next 3 minutes or so in order to explain how we negotiate, how we converse with the language, the large language models, okay, without revealing any business sensitive data. Let's take a simple example, okay? I'm sitting in front of a salary report in SAP and I'm asking Zappy who gets the highest salary in the organization. We in Insight never ever send the content, the data outside to the cloud, to the LLMs. Instead, we are taking the metadata, the columns that represent the data, and we ask the cloud, the LLM, tell me what is the SQL I need to invoke on the data in order to get the answer for the question who gets the highest salary. Okay, when I get the SQL from the LLM engine, I'm invoking it on my data and I'm getting a record. Let's say the CEO gets $50,000 a month or something like it. That's not enough. Now I want to get to present the answer to the user, okay, in a natural language. And therefore, we are in this stage, we are hiding the data. We are taking every data point and we replace it with a parameter, okay? And therefore, instead of CEO, we will use param1, and instead of the salary, we will use param2. And now we are sending this information to the cloud, and we are asking the system now answer in a language, in a natural language, who gets the highest salary. And as soon as we get the data with the parameters, we switch again those parameters into data and we present it to the user. Again, we are now able to converse, to ask, to get information from external cloud, external LLMs without letting them know anything, any concrete data about the organization. So, Zappy. Zappy is an AI tool that was coded by people that do SAP, for people that are using SAP. And in the world of Gen AI, we did the following. Let me open a system. I will point it on a transaction, on a variant, on a display variant, and there you go. So the first thing we learned about Gen AI is that the system challenges the users twofold, okay? The first one is very hard to ask complex things. Let's say I'd like to add a new column that takes the posting date of an invoice and adds 3 working days. The second obstacle is that we found out that the price of error is pretty expensive. That is to say, as soon as we made a mistake and a new column was created, we need to get back and to correct the error manually or to delete the entire thing and to try to start again. Okay, so for this one we invented the guided mode for Zappy. And in the guided mode, when you need to do something, to build something, you ask Zappy, and Zappy will tell you exactly what is going to be built for you. And in case it is not exactly the things you wanted, you can ask Zappy to change it, okay, according to your needs. And at the end, as soon as everything goes correctly, Zappy will create the object. Zappy remembers the conversation, and therefore, in case you miss something, you can ask Zappy to redo things you didn't do, you couldn't do. Okay, so these 3 layers turns the work with the Zappy for Designer, the Gen AI, into something that actually represent a change. Okay, I myself, I'm rarely find myself do things manually and inside. Instead, I'm using Gen AI because it's much accurate and it's fun. And with this thing in mind, let's check SAP and I will show you the things that inside Zap that Zappy knows how to do. So I'm now going to add a new column, okay, the industry column of a vendor, okay? Let me turn Gen AI, add a DB lookup column of the industry the vendor belongs to. So this is the question now Zappy is thinking, okay? If you check this report closely, you can see that the vendor supplying plant is not the real vendor, and I expect Zappy to get into trouble when trying to use this one, okay? And Zappy is trying to bring Superfill, this one, okay, into place. I will allow it to do that, and I will probably get a mistake saying Superfill is not actually the vendor. So let's do a side project of bringing the vendor from the database. Add a DB lookup column of the vendor from the PO header. Note that I'm not telling the AI too much. Zappy knows where the data in SAP resides, and it will reply to me with its finding shortly. Okay, so it brings echo, it looks with Ebelen, and it will bring Lifana. That's great. So now we will have a new column of the vendor. Okay, you can see. And now we can go back and ask for the industry. Now the industry. Okay. Hopefully AI Zappy will know to take the new vendor okay, so now it will take the Lifana, okay, and I can confirm. There you go. This is the vendor industry. Add a text column to the industry. I want to see the text of the industry. So it asks me to approve. Okay, let us take this GenAI one notch further, create a grouping based on the industry in the industry key. Okay, I'm not even reading it. I'm trusting it. So to the left, you can see that the system created a grouping. Okay, actually, it is a navigation pane, because as soon as you do something like that, it will display all the vendor industry 1 and 2, right? Last thing around Gen AI, I will ask the system color code red, all cells of material. Okay, material column where the net value is greater than 10,000. So this is a tricky thing. I'm asking to color code one column based on the value of another column. Okay. So it says net price greater than blah blah, and there you go. The material columns were color coded red whenever the price, the net price was higher than this one. Okay, let's move to the next word, Ask AI. So Ask AI is the part where Zappy allows business end users to ask questions about the data the user is presented with. When you ask Zappy a question, there is no big meaning about the answer. So if there's a mistake, or we are getting an answer not exactly for the question we ask, we can ask the system again, and therefore we do not need the "are you sure" mechanism, the guided way. However, we added a section that we are calling it explain, in which the user can actually check where the answer was derived from. Okay, we didn't want to load the window, and therefore we place the explain behind the link. In this version, we actually did for the first time something new. We opened a new frontier, by which we allow the user not only to ask questions, but to influence the presentation, the display, let's say creating new filters, sorting things, and even adding input fields into cells. It's obvious that when you talk with Zappy, you can do things much more complex than the things you can do manually, and it will take you fraction of the time. Okay, and therefore you can do things like adding the day of tomorrow to orders of type A, B, and C, and blah blah blah. Um, However, when we are trying to do filters and sort and that stuff, we come again with the problem of heavy price, price for errors, and then in these ask gen scenarios, we are enabling the guided mode yet again. That means that whenever we will try to do something in Ask AI, okay, to do things for us, the system will ask us. Let me show you how things look like. So let me open the Ask AI. I can either switch it from here, okay, or I can press the Ask AI and let me ask the question, how many vendors are in the list? Okay. So it says there are 6 distinct vendors, and if I will press this one, I counted the number, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let me filter the list of records with net value over 1,000. What was the other one? 10,000, 1,000, 10,000, 1,000. Okay, so now filtering, as you can remember, uses the guided mode, and the system should ask me first if I want to do that, and I will approve it. And as you can see, those records were filtered out. Okay, that's it for the Ask AI. So Zappy took a major leap, okay, and it's very exciting for us, okay. However, we truly believe that the big money and the magic resides elsewhere, okay. We believe that the magic resides where business can carry on a conversation with the AI, not about a specific content, but rather with a world of content. Okay, instead of talking about a specific report, we wanted to enable the user to talk about a set full of reports. I remind you, even when we are talking about a world of content, okay, all the rules we said earlier are applied again. That is to say, all the data is real time. Users must have authorization in order to talk about that data. And lastly, the data, nothing is sent out to the cloud. And once we are taking those principles and we aggregate them to a bigger number of processes, business processes, we are getting Zappy 360. And if we understand it correctly, Zappy 360 is the new UI for the world of SAP. So what exactly we offer with the things we call Zappy 360? First, worlds of content, okay? This for itself is a big and nice giveaway because for the first time, we will hand you, okay, the things that we believe is a world of content for the salesperson. It's what we believe the world of content for the planner, for the controller, and other jobs in the organization. Needless to say that you can take whatever we hand you and you can add things or deduct things from these words of content. Lastly, we are going to share these words of contents as separate CRs that are detached of the version, and therefore those words of content can be updated more rapidly than the versions of Inside Zap itself. Okay, so we are giving you words of content and we are allowing you to have a conversation with the word of content. Okay, and again, as soon as you find something nice to do, you can concentrate back to a specific report and you can navigate back to Zappy and you can carry on operations that are needed. Make no mistake, this is only the flag, our first footstep in this world. And as you know, as soon as we'll get your feedback in the next version, we are going to deepen our abilities around this thing. Okay, so let me dive into Zappy 360. So let me show you the spaces. Give me a second. I think I need to show you the administration or maintenance of spaces. Okay, so these are the spaces. If I'm going into the salesperson spaces, these are the sources that combine this one, and it's MB52. That's, I think, that's stock. That's stock. This is the material, prices, open orders, and this is probably the customers. And these are the users that were assigned to this space. And if I like to work with this space, I can chat. Let me pick the space. Let me invoke it. And now I'm going to ask a question that involves more than one of these sources. I need the name of the customer, which has the maximum sales order. Okay, so with the same logic, now AI Zappy 360 is trying to figure out, and it says customer, this is the customer number, and this is the customer name, and this is the number of orders. So the answer resides in two different words, two different reports. I first counted many documents for each, blah, blah, and as you can see, it went through two things, and as soon as we find a way, we can navigate back to Zappy, and now we can actually do things in each specific report. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mishan. Thank you very much. I hope it was very interesting to all of you. I would like now to over it to Mr. Goldman. Please take it from here.
Okay, thank you, Omer, and welcome everybody. My name is Goldie. I'm the CEO of a company named XCon, and we are SAP consulting firm that focuses on clean core and the new approaches of SAP. In my past, I was the head of delivery in SAP EMEA South, and due to that, I was very familiar with all the new segments that SAP are bringing into the market today. And today we are here to discuss about how Inside Zap is the ultimate clean core tool for each and every one of the customers in the world. Okay, so as you all know, there is a huge problem in the SAP market today. All the customers are heavily invested in the SAP. Okay, they put over their tons of hours of development, and everybody spent so much money during the last years, and it's crazy. Okay, so now when the guys from Germany are coming and telling you guys you have to upgrade until 27, maybe until 30 if it will be nice to you. So it puts a huge pressure of everybody. Okay, let's add to that an upgrade project is a very expensive activity. Okay, not only in cost, by the way, it's expensive in blocking the company. You cannot progress. And when you do not progress, you know exactly how stressful the area is becoming. Okay. And let's add to that that you will not get any business value from technical upgrades. So in the end of the road, we are facing very unhappy CEOs and CIOs globally throughout all the world. Okay. Now, practically what SAP and the rest of the market is saying to the customers, let's take what you have in the ECC currently, give us tons of money, and we will provide you the same, exactly the same we'll provide you in S/4HANA. The main problem over that is that it's a repetitive activity. I don't know if you are aware, but SAP changed the model of their maintenance. Okay, now they are supporting only 2 versions back. After doing that, it's a huge problem because everybody will have to upgrade all the time, every other year. Okay, now think about the situation that you are going to your CEO and telling them, hi, we need $1.5 million every other year in order to do upgrade. They will kick you out, right? So it's not valid to leave the situation as it is. Okay. SAP provided a very nice concept. I was part of the establishing of this concept, so I have to say that. But the implementation of the concept is wrong. Okay, the concept called clean core. What it practically say is that your current situation today in this side of the screen, okay, is that you have standard activities in your ECC, and you have custom code that you develop throughout many years and a lot of money invested, right? What is blocking you when you go into the direction of the upgrade is the custom code. So what SAP are practically saying, they are saying, when you are moving to S4, let's keep your core standard or clean, okay? And let's take all the developments into some other place. Okay. Now the idea is great. Now it puts you in a situation that you can upgrade without any problem because this is what you upgrade here, right? So when the core is clean, you don't have any problem to upgrade. It can become an upgrade like in your iPhone. Okay. Very, very easy one. But the question is, where are you going to put all the custom code that you need? Because, guys, no one can live with SAP best practices as a whole, right? Okay, so SAP are telling you, put it into BTP. What is BTP? BTP is a cloud service of SAP. It's a very nice idea of SAP. It's a great service, by the way, for many, many of the things. But within SAP, there is one service that's called Build. Build is a platform for ABAP development. Okay. Now you can practically develop all your new developments in the Build, and then you will be clean core. That's a good idea. Okay. But there are 3 main problems over there. There is no way to move transports from your current ECC into BTP. There is no technical way to do that. Okay, you have to redevelop everything that you invested for so many years. Okay, so this is one crazy problem. The second issue is the complexity of the development and the very few people in the world that knows how to develop within BTP. Okay, there are not a lot of resources that are already aware of how to do that. So this is the second problem, and it costs a lot of money again. And the last thing, okay, is SAP, they don't use any currency that you are aware of, okay? They're not using euros anymore. They have their own new currency, and they call it capacity units. And capacity units, this is the way that they are calculating how you're going to pay them. eventually it becomes very expensive for everybody. Okay, so the BTP solution, as good as it is, it's very expensive, which is not really sustainable. So what we are practically saying, what is the smart way to do that? The smart way is to go for a project, okay, that takes whatever you want or whatever you need to do. But in the end of the project, you need to aim to these two objectives. The first one is to be future upgrade proof, meaning that the next project that you will have will take you a day, a week, 2 weeks, not more than that, okay? And the second objective is to be SAP innovation proof. So you will be able to acquire all the innovations that SAP provide to the market during the years. Okay, it's very important for you guys. So how to do it? The best way to go is starting with a greenfield. I'm not familiar with a lot of customers that will like this way, okay? You're already heavily invested and you don't really want to go for a greenfield, okay? But what does it mean, greenfield? It means that you are inheriting the best practices of SAP. You are using the new processes that SAP provided in the newer system that comes after you already developed. You are utilizing inside SAP, okay, in order to do all the rest of the activities like back to standard and clean core, and then you go to an upgrade project, okay? So it's a smarter, absolutely. But as we said earlier, it's not really valuable. So for the rest of the people which are not NVIDIA, okay, you can go for a brownfield, and brownfield starts here, meaning you will do a pre-project activity, pre-upgrade activity that will do a clean core back to standard, utilizing inside ZAP instead of ABAP development. Okay? Now, how inside ZAP will assist you to do that? So inside ZAP is an ultimate clean core solution because it sits over the application layer. You are capable, okay, to do everything without harming the core and without even talking directly to the database that is sitting beneath that, okay? So when SAP are changing something in the database, okay, SAP always fix their own application, right? So when Inside ZAP talks to the application layer directly, this is exactly the point when Clean Core becomes ultimate, okay? Because nothing can harm what you did in Inside ZAP because we are relying on the standard of SAP, right? So this is one part. The second thing, as you're already familiar with Inside ZAP, it's a very, very fast delivery. The SLA, the time to market, whatever you want to do within Inside ZAP is very fast. So if you already developed some, I don't know, process that took you 6 months to develop with ABAP, okay? Now you can do it in half a day in Inside ZAP, okay? So think about the project when you take all your massive activities that you already developed, and instead of redeveloping them in very high complexity in BTP, you are doing them with no code, okay? Everything is no code like you already. So with AI that helps you to do that, you're doing everything in Inside, so you are doing it very fast, and the time to market is crazy. Okay, so this is exactly what we are doing in our project. All of our people are working with Inside ZAP, and it's delivering our customers totally different value than what they are used to get from the rest of the market. Okay, so this is in a nutshell exactly what we are doing. Omer, back to you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Elad. I hope you all got some kind of an understanding of the clean core principles. And I would like now to refer to Ella. Ella, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Omer. Hi, everyone. My name is Ella. I'm a SAP authorization consultant and implementer with over 20 years of experience in the field. Over the years, I worked with different organizations across the market and on a wide range of projects. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 questions that come up in every organization I work with. And one additional question that with the migration to S4, you'll soon start asking yourselves. As I go through them, I invite you to think about these questions and check whether you can answer them with a total confidence. So let's start. The first question is operational and daily. How much time and resources does your organization spend from the moment a new employee joins until they are fully set up in SAP with a user and the correct authorizations? And when they are reassigned to a new position, how do they make sure they get their new authorization without their old ones tagging along with them? And when an employee leaves, are you 100% sure their user is actually closed? I described simple routines action. They shouldn't require an expert. They just need a proper structured process that truly works. My second question relates to authorization landscape itself. You start with a great authorization model, well-designed roles, and restrict access. Then 2 or 3 years go by and everything starts messy. And what happened next? You call authorization expert who analyze all the business processes, the roles, and the job functions and rebuild all authorization from start. And then 2 or 3 years pass and it all starts again. I'm sure you all know exactly what I'm talking about and have experienced this at least once. So my third question is about audit and control. This is where you ask yourself whether you sleep well at night, knowing your organization is not exposed to internal risks such as fraud or even simple operational mistakes that can be extremely critical. Can you confidently say that there are no segregation of duty violations in your system? And how do you protect your production system? On the one hand, we want implementers to be able to respond quickly and resolve issues so business doesn't stop. On the other hand, we must have full control over sensitive and exceptional activities in production. When there's an issue, we want it to surface immediately. We don't want to wait for an audit to catch it, or worse, wait for something to happen. And the fourth question, which I promised will start bothering you, is money. Do you really know the TOC, total cost of ownership, your SAP system? I mean, how much are you paying for license? Well, think again. Until now, you paid SAP a fixed licensing framework. With the migration to S4, the entire licensing model changes. Licensing becomes directly tied to the authorization a user holds, even if they never use them. That means that when a user requests a new authorization, right before you approve it, you should stop and ask, how much is it going to cost me? And what about users who haven't logged into the system for months? How much money you donating SAP every year for licenses that aren't being used? The bottom line is simple. Authorization equals money. And smart authorization management can save you a lot of it. If your answer to these 4 questions includes phrases like too much or I'm not sure, you're not alone. And more than that, SAP does not offer single holistic automated solution that addresses all of these challenges end to end. Over the years, I dreamed to build a product that would tackle these problems at the root. I've been exposed to many systems that try to solve these challenges. Some I even implemented for customers I consulted for. All of them were either partial solutions or, in many cases, created new problems of their own. I always believe the core issue was this. They tried to manage SAP authorization out of SAP, using interfaces and external systems. That approach depended on long development, installation, and implementation cycles, which means long timeline and high costs. Over the last 6 months, as I deep end my work with Inside Zap, I built a complete solution, a product that addresses exactly the challenges I described. Everything works inside SAP, using standard SAP tools, no interfaces, no external tables, and no extra headaches. The product, like the problem it solves, is built from 4 independent modules. Each one can stand on its own. User lifecycle management, authorization management and monitoring, risk and compliance management known as GRC, and license management. They say you don't buy a whole cow just for a glass of milk. Same applies here. You can start by adopting only what's relevant for you and then grow over time. In the short time we have left, I want to share 2 very exciting events that happened just last week. Last Tuesday, I implemented all 4 modules at Diplomat, a global sales and distribution company. It took 11 minutes, 2 change requests, activation, and update to 4 variants in SAP standard reports. The result? An end-to-end process that actually works. What happened in practice? Here's an example. An implementer submitted a request in access control, it's firefighter-like, for a defined time window, received white strong authorization, and resolved a critical production issue. All activities were performed under his own user, not a generic one. We documented justification for the maintenance and detailed logs of exactly what was done. At the end of the approved time window, the powerful authorizations were automatically removed. The activity log was sent to manager approval and stored in system with timestamp and full audit and control. Well, the feedback was amazing, and I was given another challenge. We need to create 500 users for load testing with SSO configured as the user case sensitive. Oops. SAP does not support that. SAP users are always uppercase. I'll admit, this process didn't exist in my product, and it wasn't even part of my roadmap. In typical project, I would get in development time, and over several days of joint work, we will solved it. Here, only 1 day have passed, and I'm proud to say that my product support massive user creation from Excel file while maintaining case sensitive, and SSO works. Well, that was just a taste. If you'd like to see a live demo, or if you have any questions or want to consult, you're more than welcome to contact me. We can even set up a short webinar. We will keep you updated. I'll be happy to show you how one product based on Inside Zap can replace the work of an entire team and significantly reduce your overall costs. Thank you. Back to you, Omer.
Thank you very much, Ella. So this concludes today's session. I hope it was interesting for all of you. We have a little time, so if we have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Sorry, go ahead. Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I have been working in many projects from ECC to S4, and I am surprised that because we always left for the last part the greenfield, and we started always with brownfield, always, because it's everything that we already invested, and we want to keep and lift and pick, pick and lift, as they say. Then after that, we work on the greenfield because the part is hardly. Then seeing what the Goldie is telling us, first with greenfield and later with brownfield, make me like some questions.
So I'll explain in a nutshell. So practically the best way to go from ECC to S4 is to start fresh, right? And this is pure greenfield. NVIDIA are doing it right now. They are killing everything that they did in the past 20 years, and now they are utilizing new system of SAP greenfield. They are starting fresh. Okay, but we understand that not a lot of the customers in the world are like NVIDIA. Okay, they don't have the money, they don't have the manpower, and they don't have the will to excuse everything that they did until today. So we understand that you need to go to the brownfield. You have to, though SAP will say correctly, by the way, that it's the best way to work. But we are realistics, okay? So we understand that you need to start from brownfield, not because this is the way to go, but because this is the actual way that everybody going. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question.
I get your point because well, maybe that my experience has been in a global company that they have invested a lot of developments and things and systems, and they want to pick it up and take it to S4HANA. But yes, you're right, because there are a lot of vanilla projects with very young companies that they go to the jacket and get it as they have in the supermarket and use it. No, that's it. I get the point. Thank you.
Yeah. Just one point, as Omer already mentioned, that was a very short explanation in a nutshell, and we'll have a separate, dedicated webinar just for this clean core issue, because I guess most of you are very interested in it. So we have a separate session just for it. Yeah.
Thank you, Shai. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Another question.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so my question's specifically around the example that was shown with the Gen AI when Mishan was bringing in the industrial key text. Does the Gen AI tool, is it smart enough to decipher or recognize synonymous words? So such as if the command had been to bring over the description, would it have been intuitive enough to recognize that the industry key text, industry key description, and be able to bring out and elicit basically the same outcome? Or does it require? The second part or the last part is it, or does it require the user to be very familiar with the specific titles of each of the technical names or field names?
No, that's a good question. So since we're using AI, you basically don't really need to know the exact terms. By the way, even what Mishan used isn't the exact terms. He used description, and the technical term is text column. So even there in this simple example, you could see that the AI by itself understands that by adding a description, you basically means you want to add the text column. And that works for any other natural language question, of course. That's the pretty amazing thing of AI. You can be very general, and the AI would understand, at least in most cases, what you really meant by that. Yeah.
I think Mishan used the word. I think he used text, and it was text. I was curious if he used description. Could that have brought about the text? But I get your point. I think you've answered.
And by the way, we didn't show it in this session, but of course it's multi-language. So you can ask it in any language and it will give you the answer, even if it doesn't match the language of your logon language. If you, for some reason, want to ask him in Spanish or in Italian instead of English, you are free to go and do so.
Doik, last questions before we call it?
Yeah.
Thanks, Shai. You just anticipated my question. I was wondering if the effectiveness of Zappy was language sensitive. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for participating today. We appreciate your time, and we're happy, and we hope also that you had an enjoyable session, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.